Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, seeing as it is 10 a.m. Couple of more members making their way. First is the roll call. We'll start with the sheriff.
Sheriff Tommy Johnson III, present.
Marissa Treat.
Carrie Bloomert.
Butch Freeman.
Jessica Clayton for County Commissioner Mon.
Miles Davidson.
Larry Stein.
Okay, notice that this meeting was posted on June 13th. Next would be our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm always hesitant to do this, but I'm going to anyway. Mr. Stein, would you please do Pledge of Allegiance?
You always should be cautious. Salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That wasn't near as bad as I was afraid it would be.
Well, I was thinking about pledging allegiance to my tie.
Yeah. That's sort of some of the things I thought might happen. Okay, next item is approval of minutes.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of the minutes from June 8th, a special meeting. Do we have a second?
I second.
Hey, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are we having a dilemma with our yes buttons? I seem to press it several times before it registers.
I think it just through the system. Everybody has to get in, right?
Gotcha.
God, I love this system. You know, once upon a time, you've heard that speech before. That's as bad as my seed corn speech. Okay, next is items 2 through 27, our consent agenda. And virtually all of them have to do with appropriating miscellaneous receipts for this past month.
Unless there's objections, I move approval.
I hear a second.
Second.
Okay. Oops. Does everyone have a copy of this? They do? Okay. All right, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and approve the consent agenda, which we just made the motion, and then I'll do this one. All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the consent agenda. Please vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right,
Do we need to receive this? Okay.
we're getting ready to do it right now. Yeah, as this is, all right. There was an updated consent attachment for law library. I don't know. All right,
I'll make a motion to receive the report.
now once we receive it, they're looking for approval though.
Second.
Go ahead.
So 25 is just a small little typo. What's written on your agenda is correct, but the attachment has a number that's just transposed. It should have been a 5 instead of a 7. So
Okay, so
right
this
here.
is,
Should be
all right, we've already approved 25, but there is a mistake, and what is the mistake again?
It's just a transpose of numbers, so it should be $40,574.45, which is correct on your agenda. The attachment is where there's just a typo, and so with the attachment will be updated. But we did already approve the.
All right, I'm going to consider this one to be complete then, because as long as the attachment.
Yes, but the agenda is correct, sir.
Yep. Okay. All right, that was the end of the consent. Now we will go into the recurring agenda items. Item 28 is the monthly reports. Micah?
Good morning. All right, we'll go to the PowerPoint. Oh, no. Do it again. Okay, first page. This is the financial report based as of May 31st, and On our general fund, our reserves are $17,485.50. Last month, we had all the departments come together and for the transfer to employee benefits. So that's why there's a lot of negative numbers in the fourth column where it says budget amendments, but that's because every department helped with the transfer. Then we go to page 5 on your report, but the general fund comparison to last year. At this point, we have collected 104% of our property taxes. Also to note is the interest income on this page. The interest income is, of course, higher due to the ARPA interest. Which that we have seen this coming back every month. Then we go to the next page, the Employee Benefits Fund. With last month's transfer of $2.5 million from General Fund, PBA, and Capital 2010, we finally show a positive at the end of the year. So that's good. And then the next page is the medical and weekly claims. Last month we were 22% net, so we're coming down a little bit with 20% net, but you can see we had a big stop loss medical claim, which we also received funding for, so it kind of offsets. And then the last page I have is the capital fund. Like I said, we had $300,000 transfer out of this, so we took that out of the as needed line item. So now we have 54,000 left, but we also have another 179,000 left in unallocated funds. And that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Questions? Motion?
I'll move to receive.
Second? Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to receive the report as presented. Without further comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I've
Motion
lost my
passes.
screen. Can somebody help me? Yeah, I don't know how it happened. I didn't do a thing. It just went back to it.
Okay, item number 29 is the update from the BET. Mr. Cody?
Good morning. This month, we don't have any changes to the watch list. We don't have any recommendations on your agenda today. We do have 2 weeks, just a day over 2 weeks left in this fiscal year, and we got $17,000 left. So we cut it a little bit close this year. Right now in the reserve fund, we've got $17,485.50. At our most recent BET meeting, we did have a discussion with Mr. Wilkerson. I'm sure he'll touch on it a little more in depth. But whenever we had our recommendation for the transfers, some of the amounts that we were thinking that we were going to need were based on anticipatory expenses. With conversation with John, those that have come in that were estimated, we've been at or under what that estimation was. So it looks like we're going to finish in really good shape unless something out of the ordinary occurs on a bill that has not come in yet.
Okay, thank you, Cody. Any questions for Cody?
Thank you.
If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll second.
They've got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to say thanks to the BET, thanks to everyone involved in this. I was, as I think I've stated before, I am not a pass the hat fan, but the BET that worked the issue and the commissioners and others made it work. They really did. So the team came together is what the team did. And with the exception of Larry Stein's computer system, everything is just working great. The hat, I mean the bow tie. Okay, John Wilkerson, item number 30.
Sure. Good morning. Just a quick update. I know Micah touched on the numbers. We're about through with this fiscal year. That's a good thing. Overall, the plan compared to last fiscal year, I did it on net numbers. So if you look at the medical plan, we see some good things, even though there's some increases. Inpatient claims are down, outpatient facility claims are down. Really where we see the increases, those one-time surgeries, those other things that won't be ongoing. So overall net paid medical is up about 10%. And as we know, on the RX plan, we're up about 44%. That's really due to specialty drugs. The good news is 7/1's right around the corner. We have some positive changes, saving changes coming on at 7/1. As a reminder, starting at 7/1, we have our new retiree Medicare supplement plan and prescription plan taking over 7/1 for retirees. So that's going to provide some significant savings 7/1 for the next fiscal year. And then as a reminder, you may not remember from last budget board, our prescription provider Summit is changing our pharmacy benefit plan over to Affirm RX effective 10/1. So that'll come about 10/1. We'll get some relief in some pricing on prescription drugs. Are way more proactive with members to help them save cost and help them get their treatment. So those are two positive changes coming on board next fiscal year. So unless you have any questions, that's all I have for that part.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
Um, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, John, what I'd like to do is
Sure.
I'd like to propose that we would take 31 through 43 because they're all renewals. If I could get a motion to approve 31 through 43 in a second, then we'll hold up right there and answer any questions that budget board members may have. I've got one on one of them as an example. So if that proposal will work for you, I need a motion to approve 31 through 43.
A motion to approve 31 through 43.
Second? I'll second it. Okay, now, before we actually call for the vote, if you have any specific questions, again, as you can see down there, virtually all of them are renewal. But I do have item number 42. Would you go into a little detail about
Sure.
42?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of discussion on these, so let me explain a little more, and we have our prescription provider here as well for any questions. I was asked to bring this to the board's attention. You know, our prescription claims are up a lot this year. It's due to specialty drugs. The GLP-1 drugs, there's two different classifications, so I want to make sure everybody's aware of the different drugs. Everyone's heard of Ozempic, Mounjaro. Those are to treat diabetes. Those are FDA-approved drugs to treat anybody that has a high A1C, basically. All plans cover those. This amendment does not propose to end those coverages because those are needed drugs. They have to go through medical qualification to get those GLP-1 drugs that really help people's A1C get lower. And those have a weight loss effect as well. There's a drug in those called a semaglutide, okay? And that's the drug that kind of helps the weight loss piece. But again, Ozempic, Mounjaro, those are FDA approved for diabetic treatment, basically. And there's a weight loss component involved too. The drugs that are specifically on this plan amendment are Wegovy and Sandexa. They also have that semaglutide component, but it's pumped way up, a real high level. And those two drugs are only approved by the FDA for weight loss, okay? Those drugs basically, they take the highest level of semaglutide compared to Ozempic. They bump it way up and you're on it for life. For those Ozempic type of diabetic drugs, we spend about $2 million for the past 12 months on those. For these two weight loss injections, we spent about $800,000. So I want to make sure that everyone's clear that there's two different classifications. We're not attacking or not trying to, this amendment wouldn't affect those diabetic weight loss drugs. This only covers that Wegovy and Sandexa that are FDA approved only for weight loss. We're one of the only plans that cover those two weight loss drugs, from my understanding from our pharmacy consultant. No other plans cover those. The cost for those drugs, it's about $1,600 a month per participant, about 19,000 something a year for someone to be on that drug. And it's a lifelong drug. Once you get on it, they don't take you off. Even if you get to your preferred weight loss, they usually keep you on it. So there's a high cost, and we expect that cost to double because more people will get on it. So it's a snowball effect. So how do we maintain those costs? So I just put it in front of the board for you to decide if you want to cover those drugs. Most plans don't, but we do because we cover weight loss drugs. Premise and AIM clinics all have weight loss programs. They provide other drugs too. So there's some alternatives, some way cheaper alternatives available. This amendment, I put it with a 10/1 effective date, so that would coincide with our new pharmacy plan on 10/1 to give, if you approved it, to give plan participants plenty of notice. But I just wanted to provide you with the information so you would have it, be able to make a decision. We have our prescription plan consultant, David Fleet, here. He's an expert in the field for any questions as well.
Can we change the motion to include everything that talks about renewals only? We take that as one, and then we leave this out of it separate?
So you'd rather have a separate vote on it?
Yes, all his items that are general renewals, I would approve that one, but the 42 I'd like to take that on exclusively.
Okay, so what you're proposing to do then is to go back and just totally redo the previous? Or just go back and just withdraw this one from that?
Withdraw
package?
this one. All his renewals, yes, we can take them all as one, but this one was
Except for that
taken,
one.
Yes.
Council?
And we didn't actually think of it.
Yeah.
He just withdrew his motion, so if he withdrew his motion, then
Yeah, and we didn't take a
it's
vote on
done,
it.
and there's no vote, so,
So you have a new
Tommy,
motion.
you would probably want to make a motion for item 31 through 41 for renewal, and then we'll discuss item 42 separately.
All right, I see a nod from legal, so,
Can that be the motion?
yes.
And I'll make that motion.
Okay, so the motion
Second.
now is 31 through 41. Yeah, who's second?
There's a second.
There is a second, okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then on the plan amendment, I had one. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, could I go back just one teeny tiny
Sure.
second? For 31 through 41, while I am an aye for renewal, I got to spend some time with John this morning, and I appreciate him answering all my questions. So I am an aye today, but I still have a lot of questions about the different programs that we use. So I'm looking forward to continuing the discussion, specifically about some of our prescriptions, all of the prescriptions that we use, all of the services that we provide. I would like to have a deep dive into that. So for today, I will say yes to the renewal, but I do want to note that I do have a lot of questions, and I think we need to be looking for some savings and taking a deep dive into what our program is, all of our programs.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, and again, it is now 31 through 41. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, one more thing to add to the proposed amendment. The classification of the diabetes treatment drugs, next year in June, there's going to be some generic alternatives coming on the market. So we're going to see some relief on that $2 million we spend for those diabetes/weight loss drugs next year in June of 2024. Now, the weight loss only shots, there's no generic coming out for a long, long time. So those costs will be the same. I just want to make you aware of that.
Okay. Now we are talking item 42, and this Wegovy and Surrender, whatever it is, whatever the hell they are. That is strictly weight loss.
By the FDA, it's only approved for the treatment of weight loss. And
Okay.
And John, if we approve this item as written, it will go into effect October 1st.
Correct.
So effective October 1st, these two, and I won't pronounce them again. But anyway, those two will not be covered by the plan because they are strictly for weight loss.
If the board so chooses, they can
Well,
continue
I
to
understand
approve.
that.
Yes, sir.
I understand that.
Yes, sir.
I understand voting.
Oh,
What I
yes, sir.
don't
Sorry.
understand is what this stuff is all about.
Correct. So
Okay.
if you chose to approve this amendment, those drugs would not be covered effective 10/1 and after, those two weight loss drugs.
And they are strictly for weight loss.
Correct.
But the stuff that is prescribed for,
Diabetes treatment or
Diabetes.
high A1C, those are still covered. All plans cover those.
but they are not specifically for weight loss, but there is a side that provides a weight loss automatically. Is that correct?
The
Okay.
weight loss options, again, that active ingredient is pumped way up to a high dose, and that's where they get the weight loss component.
So these two specific shots, these two specific drugs,
Mhm.
you're saying today that these two only deal with weight loss.
Correct.
Okay. But I think in previous discussions, there was a maybe understanding or misunderstanding that these drugs also help with diabetes.
There might be a side effect of it because it has the same active ingredient. So when we had that conversation before, we kind of looked at why our prescription costs were going up so high. And really what we saw is a drastic increase in the GLP-1 drugs. And those
You're not allowed to use acronyms.
I'm
what did you
sorry,
say?
those drugs that have the semaglutide in them. So all combined, we spent about $2.8 million. So we split those out. The ones that are for really diabetes and some weight loss, those are about $2 million spend. And then the ones that are specifically for weight loss are about an $800,000 spend for the last 12 months.
Which you're saying these two drugs are specifically for weight loss, not diabetes.
Correct. FDA's approval only for weight loss. A physician can't prescribe them on label or for diabetes because they're only meant for weight loss, only approved by the FDA for weight loss.
And then
Hold on. Can I ask you what your source is on that?
Yes, because
Because I'm sitting here looking at FDA.gov,
Mhm.
and under what is a semaglutide and what are approved FDA medications for type 2 diabetes, Wegovy injection is listed.
yes, it is, and they have commercials that promote that.
Yeah, from what I was provided from our pharmacy benefit manager, they said it's only approved by the FDA for weight loss.
That's that. So the websites, and I know that even what Lincoln said is on a website and it's supposed to be true, but I mean, FDA Gov, and I'm going to take what has been crammed down our throats for the past couple of years. We're supposed to trust the government and what they're saying, but on FDA.gov, it says specifically that Wegovy is sponsored and approved for type 2 diabetes.
Weight loss is a great treatment for diabetes, so I expect that they'd be hand in hand, but it wouldn't be specifically apparently linked. So the benefit of weight loss is to help reduce the options of diabetes.
Medication costs.
Yeah.
No, that is correct. Thank you. And again, this is a reminder, we are the advisors for the county in regards to the pharmacy. I am not a physician, a trained physician. We get our information, counselor, we get our information from CVS, which is the current pharmacy benefit management company, that CVS Caremark. And they're the ones that constantly tell us what is FDA approved and what is not FDA approved for the two different classifications that John has talked about. And so that is where we go for our information because they're the ones that are actually distributing those particular.
So have we talked to S or CVS recently?
Yes.
Have they looked at the website recently? I mean, it took me
I
2
can't answer
seconds to
whether
look
they
at
looked
that.
at the website that you're looking at, but they're the ones that constantly tell us this is what is approved by the FDA and for the classifications, and this is what is not approved. And those two, according to the information that we get from them and the other companies that do pharmacy benefit management, just like CVS Caremark does, they say the same thing. So I'm not familiar with the website you're looking at. I'll be happy to go back and look at it and
I mean, it's just
verify that.
FDA.gov.
John,
That's the
did
Food and
you
Drug
say
Administration.
earlier that you're going to have a pharmacist specialist in here?
They manage our pharmacy plan.
Oh, so
They-
the
they-
consultant.
Consultant does.
But you are not a pharmacist.
No, and just currently to date, I'll tell you, when prescriptions come through the plan, there's certain guidelines for CVS Caremark or the prescription plans to approve them. The ones like Ozempic, Mounjaro, all those, there's diabetic qualifications. When Wegovy or Saxenda is requested and approved, it's only for weight loss conditions. And that's how it goes through the system. The providers submit it for
Well,
either
is it-
diabetes or weight
Well,
loss.
could it be that just, some drugs and the side effects that come from their use have the side effects produce more in a certain area, and so sometimes when people take it, just that side effect, even though it's used for, diabetes and stuff like that, just the side effect from Wegovy and Ozempic just leads to more weight loss. And so doctors said, well, hey, we'd like you to lose more weight, and this side effect from this specific drug will accomplish that. It doesn't necessarily take it out of the realm of non-diabetic medicine. It just says that I can get this desired effect with this particular compound or chemistry compound, whatever they use to create that specific form of medicine.
But if what I'm understanding correctly, the main concern is the cost.
The
And
cost.
remind me of the cost. It was
Yeah, the-
2.8
Well,
million.
the total cost for all of them is $2.8 million for the last 12 months. The cost for the 2 weight loss injections are $800,000 for the last 12 months. And just bring it to your attention, our prescription claims were on the rise this last year. We're doing things to address that. Most plans do not cover these 2 injections. That's why we're bringing it to your attention. You can cover them, you can't cover. It's up to you all. Obviously, you know that.
And
Mr. Fleet said also with all their book of business and their clients, no one covers these 2 weight loss injections just because of the cost.
And I would agree with that, but I would say when you look at us comparatively globally to every other workforce, we don't get paid as much as everyone else. And the selling point has always been, but you can come to Oklahoma County and get great insurance. And the benefits definitely outweigh what you would make monetarily over here. I know that's been the case for our sheriff's office. And so when you start nitpicking at that, not everybody's going to be the same. I really don't care how the state runs their system or the city for that fact. This is unique to the county.
Absolutely. And you have the ability to cover these for sure.
So what's our savings? You calculated our cost. What's our savings?
How much
For
do
all
we-
these people that have lost weight and they've gotten off of heart pressure medication, they've gotten off of all these other drugs that they were on before because they've been on this, what's our savings?
Those drugs are usually very low cost drugs. They're not going to equal $19,700 a year. It's just a very costly drug.
So the heart attack that the person or the stroke that's going to be overweight, that now that we've got them in line, what's the cost of that? What's the cost of our lost manpower hours for that employee that's not here?
For the bariatric surgery, the stomach stapling, have we
That's way
calculated
less
that?
expensive than this drug. Way less
So I
expensive.
do
The
have one.
manufacturer of this drug, the inventor of the drug says that being on it for more than 2 years or 2 years would be miserable, that it's just going to ruin things for people. So
Yeah, we might have
even
some
the
side
person that
effects to
invented it
deal
won't
with
do it.
eventually.
We had a question from the clerk.
Well, earlier, I believe you said that we cover weight loss drugs. So I'm assuming by that statement that there are other medications or other opportunities that employees would have to utilize for weight loss out besides these 2 shots. So we're not technically saying we're removing these opportunities or these options. We're just looking at removing these 2 specific shots or
Correct.
medications, I guess.
what's our next most expensive drug and when are we going to take it off?
Okay, you know what? I think we're getting so far afield here, and I understand, Commissioner, but I think what we've been asked to do is consider this particular proposal. And I think that's what we're going to do. It'll go up or it will go down.
Correct.
Can I ask
Back
one
to
more
this.
question that I feel that would be in line? So should the vote go yes or no, because we have people that are already on it, would they be grandfathered into a program? Because you just said they have to continue to use something. If we've allowed someone to use something and then you stop it, what are the adverse effects if we just strip that away from them? So will there be a grandfathered in community where you say, hey, all these people are on this and they can continue using it, but no new? Should the vote
The
Go a
board
certain
could amend it to grandfather the people that are currently covered. 102 members.
102 members,
But
okay.
currently this amendment says, or this item we're looking at says October 1. So you would have a few months to see what your other options are.
Correct.
Yes, and consulting with a physician about those other options, in addition to potentially using some of your clinics that you also have available for those types of discussion.
If this motion is passed, then again, the WNS go away. If this, right now, WNS is covered, right? And so if no action is taken, or if this proposal is turned down, then the plan stays the way it is.
Correct.
Okay? Any other questions?
And this might be a question for legal. Aaron, per this item, let's say we move to approve with a clause that says anyone currently prescribed this medication will continue to have coverage, but no one knew after October 1st.
I'm not.
You think we can?
You know, you absolutely can, but I mean,
Okay.
you're picking winners and losers.
Yeah, you
When-
are.
When are
Yeah,
we
you
gonna
are.
say, if you're on dialysis today, we're not gonna cover it tomorrow?
I hope never.
I mean, that's-
We're here because of the cost. We're not here because the drug works or doesn't work or it's important or not important. We're here because we're having this discussion because of the cost.
I think that's for a number of reasons. I think they have been underfunded for quite some time, and I think that could easily be solved through the way we go through our budget process when we're talking about cost.
I'd love to have more analysis done because we're talking about the cost of surgeries. We're talking about for the stomach staples. We're talking about high blood pressure. We're talking about heart conditions. We're talking about all these things, and there has to be some sort of a balance between the two. We may be saving money because of those two drugs being offered to
We're
people.
not.
And
We
and
just
if we
spent
don't,
$2.5 million on. We just moved $2.5 million from everyone's hat to make up the difference.
But you did that the year before with $1 million, and then starting this budget cycle off, instead of funding that $1 million in benefits, we rolled the dice and we decided not to fund that million. So when we took another spike this year, we not only had to cover our previous budget cycle's million, we had to cover this budget cycle's million too.
But we're
And
still
that
not
is
saving
budget
money.
board action or relative inaction.
and there are other companies that are asking for quick approval, which would create more competition for those drugs that provide these benefits. And they are trying to push the FDA to quickly approve and create more competition to reduce prices. So that could create lower costs down the road. We don't know.
It seems that Wegovy already is FDA approved.
And again, I'd like to correct one thing. My understanding is that the cost of the WNS is 800,000.
Correct. Currently.
Currently, cost is
But new members
800,000.
get on, it will increase.
So it's not 2 million; it's 800,000.
Yeah,
Of cost
the
of-
Ozempic ones are 2 million, and then the Wegovy and Saxenda are 800,000.
So last 12 months. So what you consider the specialty or the I forgot,
Lifestyle?
the lifestyle drug is 800,000. It's not the 2 million.
Correct.
Do either of you think this would be over the counter eventually?
I can't speculate on that at all. I can certainly take that back and get advice on perception on that. But right now, I can't speculate.
So how would that impact the plan? How would it impact the plan if we say, no, we want to keep offering this opportunity? It's just additional costs that you
just additional
predict.
costs. We know it's recurring. The 800,000 would be reoccurring, and then any new people that got it, then we'd add that to that cost.
Mhm. But you don't know how long those people would stay. And I know that doctors love to keep you on things forever and ever, amen, but they could eliminate it after a period of time. And someone could decide they don't want to have that particular drug for an extended period of time.
The early information on that is that if you get off there, in order to retain that weight loss, is that you have to have lifestyle change.
Right.
And you have to begin or increase the things that you should be doing in order to maintain that weight loss.
Any other questions?
So let's say we approve this with a clause that says if you are currently prescribed this medication, we'll continue to cover you. Would that be you who writes that clause in and then puts it into the plan?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Do we have a protocol where someone gets the drug and then after a certain period of time, they have another consultation with their doctor and said, okay, what other changes have you made? Because there's a 6-month window for this to be able to help you. And then after that period of time ends, you have to show some progress or some skin in the game instead of just being on a drug forever and ever. Is there any protocols like that?
There's not any that are in place other than what might be in the relationship with your particular, provider. To have certain, markers before, that you have to hit, those could be written into plans. Generally, they're required.
A couple of comments, Sheriff, and you're absolutely right. And as you know, I've been here since birth. One of the things that we have always sold our employees, we're not going to be able to pay you, probably not even market rate, although we're closer now and better now than what we were. But you will have magnificent benefits. The medical program and the retirement benefits are top drawer. So, and that's been, again, ever since I've been here, and since '89, that we have sold that to our employees. And that's been a major issue that we've had. My personal opinion, and I would think that we probably, unless there are more questions, that we're probably just about beat this dead horse to death again. And so what I think I would propose is that if we can get a motion to either accept this or to vote it down, but somebody get us a motion and we'll get started.
Could we have,
She's
okay.
working on her motion.
Yeah, I'm working on my motion.
Oh, I see.
Okay, could we say from, I know we're talking about this October 1st date of maybe we stop covering it October 1st, but we grandfather in everyone who's currently prescribed the medication. What if we said we will cover everyone who's currently on the medication for one more year and then we stop funding it completely?
So we're gonna stop funding an FDA-approved drug for diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
For weight loss.
No, for weight loss.
And there are other options for diabetes on our
No, there
plan.
absolutely are.
Plan. Just like there's other options for weight loss on our plan.
Doctors prescribe different drugs for different people because they have
True.
different effects.
True.
We're getting her to take a bullet out of the gun.
I hear what you're saying. I do think that there are other options for diabetes and other options for weight loss that may make more sense, especially since we are looking at cost. Right.
Okay, I'm going to move approval on item 42, including a sort of grandfather clause that if you are currently prescribed either of these two drugs, we will continue to cover you, but October 1st is the date that we will stop covering folks. Did I name that? Did I say that correctly?
So currently, members that are taking that drug are covered until October 1st of 2024. Is that what you're, so they're covered for another year?
So you'd say 2024. Yeah. If you're doing a year.
Sure.
Or
This is hard, you all.
Yeah.
I mean, your original proposed agenda item has for this year, and I hear the thought of extending it or grandfathering in. I do get that because there are some concerns with how this impacts someone's life and body if they get off something. So we do want to be thoughtful, and none of us up here are doctors. The last time I checked,
Right.
or pharmacists. So we need to be careful in making medical decisions for people. I do believe with the commissioner that we are looking at cost, and I do think that we need to continue to look at cost. We all know that this costs a lot of money and that there are other options for weight loss and other options for diabetes. So if we are being responsible with taxpayer dollars, then this may be an opportunity for us to say, this is something that the county can not afford. And maybe next year we come back and look at it again. But I don't know, John, if you have any other recommendations or suggestions for us today, but I know that, our good friend, Mr. Freeman, would like us to move on.
Okay,
Now-
let me clarify my motion because I clicked the motion button. I'll move approval on item 42 and that we, beginning October 1st of 2023, will grandfather in folks who are currently being prescribed this medication for one more year
And then exclude it from coverage for other people?
and exclude it from coverage for other people.
That's the motion.
So what that will give, though, that will give what, 3 months, 4 months, where people can quickly get this prescription and move ahead. And you're going to have a rush to the pharmacist.
Exactly.
And the generic for diabetes will be available.
Next year, they're coming out for the diabetes treatment that has a weight loss effect. Next year, that's coming out in a generic form, but not the purely, not Wegovy and Saxenda.
Say that again, it will have a generic form?
The diabetes treatment one, but not
It
these
will.
not these two Wegovy and Saxenda ones.
They don't know when a generic is gonna come out. They can't predict that.
For this one, but there will be a generic for
The other,
the other one.
Okay, so how do we know that there will be a generic for the diabetes ones?
Yeah, that we've been informed that that's coming out next year.
Okay, I was informed that I was going to be good looking and it still has never worked, so I'm not sure I'm buying it.
we're praying for you, Butch.
And those aren't covered by this amendment, so those aren't impacted by this amendment.
So I don't like the idea of creating two classes of employees because of dates, arbitrary dates that are selected. And if there's an option for a generic that would substantially reduce the costs, then I don't think we ought to do anything.
Leave
I think
leave
we
it
ought to
as it is.
Just leave it like it is. And then we can monitor the costs and see what happens. And then we can come back after the generic comes online and see if, and get those folks on a generic option, and then look at, if they demand to be on another one, we have a pharmaceutical plan that pays for those generics. And if you want to have a different drug, then the option is you could pay more for that drug.
And if
Isn't
the-
there?
Yeah. And then if this isn't approved, we can just do a report every month, kind of this is what our spend is, just so you're aware, if you want us to.
So just to clarify, again, what we're talking about too here today are these two weight loss drugs, the W and the S, and doing away with them effective October 1 of this year.
Correct.
If we remove those off, then those individuals that are currently on will have a couple months to figure out a new plan, go in to see what benefits we already do provide as the county to help with weight loss as options, correct?
Correct.
So they still can find an alternative to help with weight loss.
Just not as good. I mean, these are just the mirror.
Or as expensive.
Yeah, expensive.
As
Exactly.
expensive.
Very expensive.
So I think that I would like to go back to,
We can butcher my motion.
to
anyway.
move back to the original motion, and I would like to move the original.
Okay, I withdraw my motion. Thank you, Cassie.
And
Okay,
I'll second her motion.
Okay, we have a motion. No, well, you don't have to have a motion to withdraw it.
Well, we kind of did it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kind of enjoying this. I enjoy picking on commissioners.
So your motion is to approve the item as written.
Yes.
Your motion is to remove the option of employees to be able to have that until after a certain date.
Yes, as written. So after October 1 of 2023, employees would no longer be able to receive WNS.
Except the ones that are already on the system?
No.
None at all.
And boy, that one, we're either going to have to be pregnant or not. We can't do both.
Well, and that's why I think it's time for us to vote. As you said, I think we've beat it to death, and time for us to vote, just as you said, sir.
Okay, so you have made the motion that this be approved, basically. Not bad. That's what you made. Okay, so approval for item 42, and we got a second. Got a motion and a second to approve.
I want to argue against that.
Okay, are you?
And
against it?
Well, you can vote no.
No, I don't want to do that because I want to make sure that people know that we'll do everything we can to help people in our community, in our family here. We have no idea what might be happening with a generic that could come out and substantially reduce it that may have the name Wegovy on it. And if it has that name, then we've said we can't offer you that, even though it's $5. So I think we ought to wait and find out what's happened with that because we're going to be we could be saving money with heart attacks, kidney failure, all sorts of diabetic problems that could happen. You've got the stomach stapling, bariatric surgeries. All of those are expenses. If we save money by having those folks without having to have those treatments, then we'd be doing a disservice to say, no, go ahead and have a heart attack. go ahead and lose a foot because of diabetes. Go ahead and lose and get on dialysis because that's going to cost a whole heck of a lot more. I think we're making too rash of a decision right now.
Well, with all due respect, I think just through the proper procedure, we've made the motion, made a second, and it's time, and we can debate
And that was my debate.
and now vote, correct?
And the reason why I seconded is that there's other options for weight loss and because in mind of budget. I mean, that's 102 members that are currently using this, and as word gets out, and I mean, anyone can take a weight loss drug, and so that's my concern is that it will inflate dramatically, and then we'll be in the same situation we were in previous meetings, wondering how we're going to come up with the difference in the budget.
It could go down as well.
The greatest fat shaming argument ever. All right, here we go.
All right, we have got the motion and we've got a second. Any other comments? If not, let's do a roll call. If you would, please vote by roll call.
Sheriff Tommy Johnson, no.
Marissa Treat, yes.
Carrie Bloomer, yes.
Butch Freeman, yes.
Jessica Clayton for County Commissioner Mon, yes.
No.
No.
I counted that made 8-6, right? Woo, there we are. Motion passed. Whoops. You can't bring it back? I believe it said motion passed 4-3. All right, so we concur motion did pass 4-3. Now, and the motion that passed is what's on? Okay.
Yes, you just removed 2 FDA approved drugs.
Yeah, I know, and now we're gonna go up in heart attacks, car accidents and everything else. All right, good. Not good, but bullshit. 43. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, 43 is for prepaid legal or legal shield. This is for the identity protection. Some years ago, the board approved this to provide it to employees to protect their identity. We pay for it. It's just a standard renewal, no increase.
What's the cost?
60,000 a year.
How much?
60,000 a year.
Okay, and that's for entire countywide.
Yes, for all employees.
Is this automatic for every employee or do they have to opt in?
It's automatic.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any comments, debates? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Okay, are you going to talk to this item?
I would love to. So number 44 is a resolution, and I had trouble pulling up the resolution. This was added by the chairman and the treasurer of the Free County Fair, so I'm not for sure if we can pull that, but it's a resolution asking for the transfer of general fund appropriations for County Free Fair 710 in the amount not to exceed $3,000 from operations to capital. The transfer is necessary to purchase scales as needed to weigh animals, a laptop, and a printer for the Free Fair board members to use for their duties. These funds are available because we were unable to use the state fair this year for the Free County Fair, and so that was $5,000 that they have available, and they would like to use these funds for that purpose.
So this is just moving from category A to category B
That is
within
correct.
their current budget.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Here we got a motion and a second. Any further comments, questions? Hearing none, please, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Forgot we had another full page. Okay, item number 45 is transfer of general fund appropriations from the treasurer not to exceed $369.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 46.
The same, sir.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 47. Commissioner?
Yeah, same thing. Transfer general fund appropriations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 48. This is
Say,
Juvie. Hello, Juvie. Hello, Bartlesville.
Both items 48 and 49 are transfers within our budget, moving some stuff to capital so we can reduce our request for next year.
Motion to approve 48.
second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, item 48. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You wanna
Motion to
do
approve
49?
49.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, item 49. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hannah,
Thank
say
you.
that again. You're transferring this to ask for less. Say that again.
Yes, so we had a couple of capital projects that were on our estimate of needs for this next fiscal year. And we had enough at the end that we won't have to ask for those come September. So that'll reduce our actual ask for next year.
Thank you.
You're not doing a very good job. You're absolutely not spending your money.
I'm trying to.
Thank you,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Item 50,
Uh,
County Sheriff.
Transfer of general fund appropriations, not to exceed $180 from benefits to operation.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, all right. Were there any citizens who signed up to speak before the budget board? Board comments. Sheriff.
Great debate today. It's good to be around this group, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I said this at BOCC the other day, but happy Juneteenth. There are 2 Juneteenth events this weekend, one at Washington Park and one on Northeast 23rd. Both of them are most of the day on Saturday, so I'll be there.
Sheriff, if we work hard enough, we'll make you regret being on this.
I echo Carrie and just wish all of our county employees a wonderful day off.
Absolutely. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy your long weekend. We forgot to mention Flag Day yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Sorry. In honor of.
Yeah, and then I got in a little bit of hot water yesterday because it would have been my first opportunity as elected official to wish my mother happy birthday, which was also Wednesday.
God.
So happy birthday, Mom. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
Happy Flag Day, and also the Army's 248th birthday yesterday on Flag Day. I passed around a Picasso abstract for you. The abstract is one of the most important things the assessor's office does. We filed this with the tax commission yesterday, and if you look at what we have now, currently as a value, we have approximately just short of $85 billion worth of value in Oklahoma County. That's a record, and we're just 720 square miles of the entire state, but we're still representing more than 22% of the entire ad valorem base of the state of Oklahoma. We have limitations on Oklahoma County through the property tax assessment system of 3% and 5% for homesteads and non-homesteads and agricultural and commercial properties. If those were removed, the county of Oklahoma County would have approximately $18 million more dollars in our budget to do the necessary services and constitutional requirements of what we do. So instead of a $120 million budget, we'd have $138 million, and then we'd be able to run a jail.
And that's if what?
That's if all of the property was assessed at market and the limitations were not in place.
I see. I didn't say that.
I know. But I don't think there's another entity in the state that is required to reduce their income that way by constitution.
Okay, anybody else got anything? Those of you who'd like to sign up with the county assessor, please form a line over here.
All those in favor say aye.
Move to adjourn.
Move to, we got a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We are adjourned.
Aye.
How do you get yourself into so much trouble? Oh. Hey, I'd like to say, thank you very much for trying to participate.
That was interesting.